Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wench Bench, where friends sit and talk about fabulous fictional females and how their stories have influenced us throughout our lives. My name is Alison.
And my name is Fonda.
And today, Fonda is going to be doing a special episode where she's going to be explaining a little bit about the world of Magic the Gathering.
So for our dear listeners, you don't have to listen to this one. It will be really helpful when I'm talking about really fantastic, fabulous fictional females in the future that are from this game. But I don't want to have it be too convoluted every time I'm trying to explain the characters. So just so you know, if you don't listen to this one today, that's fucking fine.
That's okay.
That's okay. You can go on to the next, or you can just wait. But yeah, I'm talking about Magic the Gathering, which is a card game.
Cool.
Yeah, Alison, do you know anything about Magic the Gathering by chance?
I know of Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
I've never played it. I had a friend who tried to teach me once, and I have so many other things that I invest my nerd money into that
Like minis for D&D.
Yeah, way too much D&D.
Dice. Just
Dice.
got another whole topic.
Yeah. So I never quite got into it, but with my husband working at the comic book store, I do know kind of basic stuff, but nothing really that far into the lore or anything.
It's really convoluted. I didn't know how convoluted it was until I dived deeper into it, because I've been playing the game for about maybe 5 years and not intensely playing it. I enjoy it. It's a lot of money because they come out with a lot of sets every year and blocks and additional cards. And some cards can be millions of dollars depending on yeah, it's insane. So I don't spend a lot of money into it, but I do play it with my husband all the time and our friends.
Cool.
So just some quick things about it to explain what it is for people that don't know outside that it's a card game. It's a collectible and digital card game that was created by Richard Garfield. It was released in 1993 by Wizards of the Coast. Magic was the first trading card game and has approximately 35 million players.
Wow.
As of December 2018, because you can register yourself for tournaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that's how they figure it out, that people are players.
Sure.
I know. There's over 20 billion Magic cards produced. And that was between the period of 2008 and 2016.
Wow.
And we're 2020 right now.
Yeah.
As the time of recording. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Each game of Magic, as it's called, represents a battle between wizards. So you as a player, you're called a wizard, or sometimes you're called a planeswalker, depending on lore stuff. We'll get to that later. But you cast spells. You can use artifacts, creatures that are depicted on different cards to defeat your enemy opponents. Typically, but not always, the best way to defeat your player is by getting rid of their 20 health points. But there's other ways you can kill people in the game. It doesn't have to be points. It could literally be oh, you've run out of cards, so now the game's over because you can't play anymore. So I win.
Okay.
So there's vast ways to win, which can get confusing because they're always introducing new mechanics. The original concept of the game drew heavily from the motifs of traditional fantasy role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons. The gameplay bears little similarity to pencil and paper adventure games, while simultaneously having substantially more cards and more complex rules than any other fucking card game I've ever played in my life.
That's fair. Yeah, I remember trying to learn it, and I'm just
I still have a hard time. I have my own decks and I know how to use my own decks, and that's about it. It takes me a while to figure out other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, or how some people just call it Magic or MTG, traditionally is a game played by 2 or more players, and it was done like in person with printed cards, but now you can do it on like your computer, smartphone, or tablet. So there's like other ways for people to play now outside of just like collecting cards.
Cool.
Things to know is new cards are released on a regular basis through expansion sets, and they're organized. You can have like tournaments where people can play internationally or within like communities of your own. Certain cards can be very rare and very expensive, and it's insane. Something I didn't know, but I did find out recently because of this research, is they have books, like novels.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until doing this research. So I've never read any of them. But if people really like the lore that the cards kind of add and provide in the card game, but you don't want to constantly put money into buying things for it, I think the novels might be a good way for people to go if they just enjoy like the story element of it.
Yeah, for sure. I know like one person that I know has a deck that's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's just like, my God.
I know. There's a card, and you can't use it because there's certain cards outside of like if you're playing against friends, but in like tournaments and stuff, there's certain cards that are like blacklisted where you can't play.
Mm-hmm.
There is one card called the Black Lotus, and I'm just going to quickly check to see how much it's worth at the moment because it is expensive as fuck, lest I remember. Holy crap. $9 million.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
One card.
A piece of paper.
What?
Jesus. Or he has card stock, but that's some expensive card stock.
Yeah. Anyway,
is it like shiny and pretty?
You can get ones that are shiny and foiled. I think this is just for the base, like a good quality base card.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyways, never again. I mean, if I ever get one, I'll just like sell it so I can get the money. I don't need the card.
Honestly, some people like, because I know they sell cases of cards at the comic shop where like when a new set comes in, you buy like the full case because then you have a better chance, I think, of getting the rarer cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane.
It's wild. So some quick important concepts when it comes to Magic the Gathering. These are terms that will come up a lot, especially if you're going to be talking about the legendary characters and creatures in the game, which I will be talking about a few in the future, which is, again, why we're doing this episode. So a plane is basically a world. Think of each plane as like a different planet, though not necessarily round.
Okay.
And they're more on like, they're like on different dimensions separated by space. Most denizens of the quote unquote multiverse, like that's what Magic the Gathering runs off, is a multiverse.
Okay.
Not everyone that lives within the multiverse are aware of the existence of other planes. Each plane is also unique in size, society, demographic, technology, etc. A quick fact to note is that the central plane, so like the plane that most people view as being in the center of this huge multiverse, is called Dominaria. So a lot of stuff happens in that plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So kind of like the Spider-Verse movie where they're like
pretty much
different versions of Spider-Man.
Pretty much. Yeah, every fucking thing has a multiverse.
Yeah. Multiverses are a pretty cool concept for like any sort of sci-fi or comic booky stuff.
Yeah, it has a bunch of unique elements. Now, planeswalkers is someone, it can be anything. There's a cat.
Awesome.
Like there's literally a cat that is a planeswalker. Like you don't have to be a humanoid, but there's someone with the innate ability to travel between the planes. So planeswalkers are the focal point of the story for Magic the Gathering. Planeswalkers are said to be 1 in a million. The ability to planeswalk is referred to as the spark, and it's normally activated or ignited through like intense trauma, which is sad because I'm like, why can't you just get a spark in a good way? Like, you know, like why does it have to be intense?
Why has it gotta be bad?
I know. There's a few rare exceptions. Only living beings of biological origin can have a spark. So, like, undead angels or demons technically can't be a planeswalker.
Okay.
And back to why planeswalkers are important. When you're playing the game, you are technically, as a player, you're a planeswalker
Okay.
because you are able to summon creatures from other planes to help you fight.
Fun.
Yeah, so everyone's a one in a million, basically,
You're this weird, omniscient, one in a million wizard planeswalker.
right? Like, I know it's a game, but a set in Magic the Gathering is a pool of cards that are released together and designed for the same play environment.
Okay.
They might maybe release 160 cards, maybe it might be more, but there's about sometimes 3 or sometimes 4 sets in a block. Now, a block is again a group of expansion sets that have like a shared mechanic or flavor.
Okay.
So, for example, there is sometimes each block might be about a story. So, there was one that had to do with fighting a bunch of like demons, werewolves, and vampires. And that was like a theme for a while.
Fun.
And it kind of like moves forwards, which can be very confusing because sometimes I'll be like, oh, hey, honey, I want to get a new card from this cool set. And he's like, don't you mean a block? I'm like, isn't it the same thing? But it's not, apparently,
That's fair.
which is so confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last term is called mana, which I'm sure anyone that plays any game or has read anything fantasy or fictional would know that mana normally means like magic.
Mhm.
In order to play cards in this game, you have to have mana in order to do it. So for the game, mana is normally like land cards. So if you have a bunch of swamps, a bunch of plains, like oceans, lakes, rivers, and stuff, anything that's kind of like an environment,
Okay.
like in nature, I guess, helps you produce magic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Kinda like the elements in Pokemon.
pretty much.
Is that sort of the vibe?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. That's my only card, like, battle reference is Pokemon.
I love it. I love it. Do you remember Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you remember Yu-Gi-Oh?
I do remember Yu-Gi-Oh! I never got super into it.
I never knew how to play, but I had so many cards. I never knew how to play as a kid. It didn't make sense to me. I tried. I'm like, how do I do this game? Anyway,
There was so many. There was Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, Pokemon, like, after Pokemon just skyrocketed to popularity, I think everybody tried to jump on and,
yeah.
Pokemon is king now.
Love a good Pokemon. Can't go wrong with Pokemon.
No.
Speaking of like cards, something that is important is like magic is based off of 5 different colors. Often shown on the back of a magic card, you'll see the 5 different colors that make up the color wheel, each representing a school or realm of magic. So there's white, blue, black, red, and green.
Okay.
The arrangement of the colors on the wheel are apparently really important. I didn't quite know that for a while. I was just like, okay, cool. Like colors, I get it. Like with Pokemon, like I totally get it.
Yeah.
But apparently, each of the colors is actually like they represent something. They represent like a type of ideal or something you value or want.
Okay.
For example, white represents order, peace, and light. And you draw mana from like the plains. So think of like a nice golden field of like wheat or grass. And white planeswalkers can summon weak creatures that are collectively strong, like a group of soldiers. They can also summon angels.
Fun.
But a white deck tends to focus on like healing and preventing damage.
Okay.
There's a planeswalker I want to talk about one day called Elspeth, and she's a white planeswalker.
Oh, cool.
So she is very focused on like order, peace, light, and healing.
Mhm.
There's blue, which represents intellect, logic, manipulation, and trickery.
Ooh.
And they get their magic from like islands on the ocean and stuff. Blue magic is also associated with control, allowing the player to gain temporary or full control of opponent's creatures. Blue creatures are often weak, but are very evasive, so they're difficult to like attack.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a blue deck with red cards as well, because you can have decks with multiple colors. They don't just have to be one color.
Okay.
And it's more focused on me casting like spells than it is me summoning creatures.
Hmm.
Because again, it's about like evasion and stuff. Black is what you would expect.
Necromancy?
Yeah, power, death, corruption, sacrifice. You
Yes.
draw your magic from swamps. Creatures are undead. You can get vampires. You can get zombies. You can get like all these things, demons and devils.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, black creatures can also draw life from other people.
Oh, that's fun.
Black is also about sacrificing, so it's common for planeswalkers cards to have the ability to sacrifice other people or
Ooh,
creatures.
that's fun.
There's very, 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 very popular, like one of the most popular planeswalkers is a woman called Liliana.
Ooh.
She's all about death, destruction, demons, making pacts with people, dancing with zombies and skeletons. A lot of people like her. She's cool.
I like that vibe. It's a good vibe.
Yeah. And she apparently has a really cool lore, which I don't know much about, but I'll dive into it one day because it sounds neat.
Yeah.
The last two colors being red, which is like freedom and chaos, fury and warfare, and you pull your power and magic from the mountains, and they tend to have like really, really strong spells. Think of like magic, they have one called Fireball, and it does a lot of damage
Yeah.
and kills a lot of things. Red is also like offense orientated, so they're all about like attacking and kind of like instead of defending things.
Yeah.
Green is the color of life, nature, evolution, indulgence, and they get their mana from the forests. And they're generally able to dominate the battlefield with many creatures that can play at once. And the green creatures and spells can generate life points and mana, but they can also gain massive strength through spells. Like you can summon a fucking giant freaking mammoth. Like
Neat.
anything you think of that you can see in the wild
Yeah.
that's ever existed. So most cards in Magic the Gathering are based on a single color, but there's something called hybrid cards that use two colors, so two mana colors,
Hmm.
which fits really well because they've made a lot more Planeswalker characters that are more than just one color,
That's a good idea.
which I like because it kind of says, in my personal opinion, it's like not everyone fits into one mold.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can value more than one thing.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is green because you can get wolves and dogs.
Of course.
So that one's my favorite. But I also really like white because I like being able to heal and like that kind of thing is my vibe.
Yeah.
What would you, if you just knowing the colors, just hearing the colors, what would you go for?
I like, obviously, I like black.
I was like death, destruction, and necromancy.
Like, I've always wanted to play like a necromancy character in like D&D, but they're not very like cool or powerful. Like, from what you explained, they sound like they're really awesome. And then blue also sounds really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say about colors, in terms of like if you're ever constructing a deck or if you see a character that you really like that has a story, cards from colors that are aligned, such as red and green, often provide like synergy effects. Blue and sometimes red can go really well together. Basically, if you're ever wondering or interested in how people choose to craft these decks together, if you look at the color wheel on the back, any color that is like adjacent synergize really well.
Okay.
So like if two colors are side by side, you're like, okay, like I know I could make a deck using these colors because they'll go well. And sometimes any color like alternatively across might not go well together.
Kind of like a normal color wheel.
Pretty much. Kind
Neat.
of like a normal color wheel. So now that I've gotten, I would say like mechanic and like base whatever I could, because it's actually a lot of information about like playing. There's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of rules. It's a lot, but that's not what the point of this was, but it's really important because when I'm talking about all these characters, I needed you to know terms and information.
Yeah, at least somewhat how to play
Yeah,
it.
or like how it works. So that way, when I say, like, oh, like they traversed from a different plane and they're a planeswalker that mainly uses like green mana, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense than you being like, what the fuck is a plane? And
What the
what does
fuck?
green mana equal? So, like, I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. It does actually make a lot of sense. It was good. Good
Okay.
description.
Dear listeners, I hope it was fun. Now, what will arguably take the longest, but please ask me
I
questions.
will.
I will state I haven't been playing this game since 1993. Though I am also 27 years old, which is how long this game has been about, I only know as much as I can like dive into, I
Yeah.
guess. But it's a lot and it's really convoluted and complex. So I did my best to make a quick timeline, and it's going to be hard because there a lot of people work on the game and the story told within it. I'm not an expert, did my best to find important dates and places and people.
We have
And
never claimed to be experts.
I never claim to be an expert. And even then, like, it's still a game that's growing and they're still making stuff. Like, by the time you probably listen to it, I know that there's a set that's going to be out
Oh, yeah.
that I will have no information on
Yeah.
and how it fits.
It's an
This is
ever-growing,
what it is.
ever-evolving topic.
Yeah, but that being said, let me do a quick snapshot. And by quick, I mean as quick as I can make it, of the timeline within the game.
Cool.
And these names are going to be hard for me to pronounce. I've tried to Google how to say them, but some of them just didn't give me like an audio option on YouTube of other people saying it. It's just like, here's this card. I'm like, cool, that's not what I wanted, but thanks, okay, bye. So the first part is called Urza's story. Urza and his brother Mishra were accomplished artificers, but Mishra allied himself with the Phyrexians, a race of machine horrors that would become one of Magic's main villains in the game and the story.
I just
So they built armies.
I just
What?
I
What?
don't know. It's just maybe the way you pronounced it or not, but it sounded like you just said machine whores.
Oh, machine horrors.
I was just
Horrors? Machine monstrosity.
it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, they're horrors. Anyway, so they built armies and they fought the Brothers' War. Urza ended the war with the Golgothian Silex, which devastated Dominaria, the
Oh, the
main
main plane.
focal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ignited Urza's Planeswalker spark. So this marks the beginning of Urza's incredibly destructive life as a planeswalker.
Fun.
I know, great, right? So the blast from the Silex sent Dominaria into what's known as a Dark Age, where magic was persecuted. Then there was an Ice Age, and then a really great character, Freyalise, is a really fabulous lady I'll talk about in the future.
Ooh.
She ended the Ice Age with her World spell.
Dang.
Yeah, and that's when we get into something called Urza's Saga block. So, like an entire set of cards based around his story. He devoted his life to destroying the Phyrexians, and like all planeswalkers at the time, Urza was ageless. The Phyrexians could never planeswalk, but they were preparing a plan to invade Dominaria without needing to travel to that plane.
Okay.
Urza founded the Tolarian Academy to train young mages and perform dangerous experiments, especially on time manipulation.
Ooh.
Urza spent this time gaining allies and finding a huge collection of artifacts that are called the Legacy. Urza built the Silver Golem Karn, which is a planeswalker,
Cool.
as part of the Legacy to travel through time portals unharmed. So that is the first part of how it started.
Dang.
Again, complex and convoluted.
Yeah, so like two brothers fought.
Yeah.
One brother became a planeswalker and had to go and kill a bunch of those, like, robot whores
Machine
I talked
things,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
The robot horror. I have a bad time saying that word apparently.
Makes me laugh.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, and along the way, he made new friends.
He
Some
did.
he literally made,
Yep.
and some were just normal made.
Normal made. They were people that existed that became his students.
Nice, nice. And a super powerful lady ended an ice age.
Yes, she's really
Yeah.
cool. I don't want to dive too much. She kind of comes up like really well-known planeswalkers kind of like exist a lot and help each other out throughout their own stories. So
Yeah.
she'll come up again.
Cool.
She's neat. The next saga is called the Weatherlight Saga.
Ooh.
A sky ship called the Weatherlight was a planeswalking airship designed by Urza as part of his legacy, powered by destroying the dying plane made by the planeswalker Sarah. This story takes place about 900 years after the first saga,
Okay.
so quite a while.
Quite a bit of time.
Yeah. Individual named Volrath captured Sisay. I hope I say that one right. Captain of the Weatherlight, and took her to the plane of Wrath. Gerard Capshen, the main protagonist of this saga, became interim captain and went after her along with the rest of the crew, including in no particular order Karn,
Ooh.
Stark of Wrath, Tongarth, Hana, Miri, Urte, Orem, my favorite, Squee,
Squee!
and Krovax.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they made it through with the Weatherlight sky ship and they fled to a plane called Mercadia. Again, this one I don't have an exact pronunciation for.
No worries.
I've always called it Mercadia, but
Close
I could
enough.
be wrong. After that, Krovax replaces Volrath as leader of the stronghold and prepares to help the Phyrexians invade Dominaria.
No.
Not much else happens in this like one set. In the next block called the Invasion Block, the Phyrexians invade Dominaria. They overlaid the plane of Wrath onto Dominaria. So think of it like a very not happy sandwich.
A very not happy sandwich.
Yeah, like
Kinda
there was no consent in asking one plane to be on top of the other plane, which fused them and made them become one, which is not good.
I was gonna say that sounds bad. Just the
Not
term
good.
fusing sounds bad.
Yeah, it's not good at all. A lot happens in this saga, but I'll jump to the end of it because it seems like that's where most of the important stuff happens. Karn's activation of a legacy weapon destroyed the Phyrexian leader, and the rest of the Phyrexia fell shortly after. Urza, Gerard, and most of the crew from the Weatherlight ship and many others were killed.
Oh no.
Karn gained the Planeswalker spark formerly held by Urza because he had a trauma.
Trauma!
Ah! I know.
Because Urza was the one who made Karn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Urza died.
Urza died. Cool.
Yeah, that's great. The last block in this saga is called the Odyssey block.
Ooh, fancy.
So on Dominaria, a century after the invasion and the fusion of the two planes that was not consensual, Chainer discovered the Mirari, which is a powerful artifact created by Karn that corrupts people and grants wishes at a terrible cost.
Fun.
I know.
Fun.
Kamal gained control of it, stabbed it, and planted the Mirari sword in the Croson forest. Kamal's sister Yeska, I don't know if the J is J, if it's supposed to be a Y, or if it's supposed to be silent.
All of the above.
Anyways, she was corrupted and became a phage. She then merged with a chroma to become someone known as Corona. And she started a war.
Well, magic is weird
It's very complex. Like, again, they have so many cards, and within the cards, if any card is titled a legendary creature, that means they're important to the story of Magic, and they have a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, I've never really dived into.
Like, couple
I
million?
know. It's so intense. So that's the Weatherlight Saga.
Fun!
The next one, which has 2 blocks in the story, is called Exploring New Worlds, which I thought was gonna be hopeful.
But it's not?
Uh,
Are they
no,
also
no.
destroying new worlds?
Uh,
Or are those worlds just evil?
I think it depends on the planeswalker, you know?
That's fair. Depends on your opinion.
Well, yeah, 100%. I like to think I'm unbiased.
I am a non-biased planeswalker wizard.
Yep. I have no allegiance. Unless you give me a dog, then I will hands down protect that dog. Anyways, so Karn created another thing I don't think he should have done. He made an artificial plane called Argentum.
Weird.
Using the Mirari, again, the thing that we just established wasn't great.
Yeah, that like fucked up that lady.
Yeah. And he created a guardian called Memnarch. He went mad, populated the plane with life. But
Became like a crazy god.
yeah, but it was later destroyed by a team led by an individual called Glisa Sunseeker. So artificial plane got made.
Populated by a crazy other guardian.
Yeah,
And then just got wiped out.
pretty much.
Fun.
That's one block. The next block is called Ravnica. Ravnica is a plane that a lot of people really like.
I've heard of Ravnica.
Yeah.
That was like one of the big card boxes or something that
Yes.
I saw in the thing. There was a bunch of different ones that had different characters on the front. Neat.
Anyways, the peace between 10 guilds of Ravnica was maintained by a spell called the Guild Pact,
Ooh.
which was cast by the founder of the Azorius Senate, a sphinx named Azor.
Cool. I love a sphinx.
I love a good sphinx. A conflict arose and the spell was sadly broken.
Oh.
And once the conflict was resolved, the guild signed a new non-magical guild pact. Because no one really wants to be, bound by a spell.
Yeah, that is never fun.
No one likes that.
That doesn't sound like fun.
And that's that.
Neat.
That is exploring the New World Saga. Really not super in-depth, I guess, or like really plot heavy.
No.
But
in the future, like when you talk about people, you can be like, oh, hey, it's from this box.
Yeah.
And then if somebody does want to come and listen through,
they can be like, oh, this thing.
this.
Yeah.
That's like the good and the bad thing about some of the things that we're going to be talking about is that some of them are going to get like real wild.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's not just going to be like a paragraph at the beginning, like with last week's Adam Eve, where I kind of just had the beginning part explaining the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty small world comparatively.
Yeah. Same with, even though I would say when I was talking about Sarah from Dragon Age Inquisition, it's a series that spans going to be like 4 games. Like it has a lot, but it's all only been on like one continent. They haven't dived into the other stuff yet.
Yeah.
So some of the things will be easier for us to quickly tell you about. Others will not be.
Others we will have random little one-off episodes that if you want to just ignore, that's fine.
That's fine. Again, you can stop here.
Or you can, listen to Alison be confused and dumb things down to basic statements.
Please, this is why we're both here. So the next part is going to be called the Mending.
Ooh.
It only uses 1 block. It's called the Time Spiral block. So Teferi and another character named Joyra, Hoira, or Yoira. Again, I don't know how the J
Stupid Jays in
I
fantasy. Like, they can
know.
never decide.
God.
Well, I guess we as English-speaking people too can never decide how to appropriately use some letters.
I know. I just wish they could tell. But they set out to repair the fractures in the multiverse that were caused by the multiple world shattering, time breaking spells that were cast on Dominaria throughout the ages. Again, Dominaria
Yeah.
being the center of the multiverse kind of affects the whole.
Yeah, they got fused with the other one,
Yeah,
right?
what's not? Yep. Non
Yep.
consensual.
Non-consensually fused.
So Teferi sacrificed his planeswalker spark to phase in the land of Shiv and seal the Shivan Rift,
Ooh.
and he convinced others to do the same. So several planeswalkers agreed, with some sacrificing their lives instead of just their spark. Karn gave up his spark,
Mhm.
and then he was flung into Mirrodin. So he was flung into another plane, the one that got destroyed down the line.
Okay.
With the closing of the Jalfur Rift, the land of Jalfur was permanently phased out, meaning like can't access it.
Okay.
The multiverse was mended, but most of the planeswalkers died or lost their spark.
Oh. Although I love a good self-sacrifice story.
I know, it's important. Prior to this, all planeswalkers were ageless and they had godlike power. But now, what's going to be called like the post mending era, planeswalkers are just like powerful mages, and age does affect them,
Okay.
and it can become a huge problem for older planeswalkers, such as Liliana. Like, I don't know if she's like old canonically. I'm gonna have to look that up myself. But like, she as a planeswalker has been around in the card game for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. Same with another planeswalker who's a bad boy.
Bad boy.
Bad boy, very bad, does a lot of bad things. His name is Nicol Bolas, and he's like a dragon.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
The fancy bad boy.
Fancy bad boy. So that was the mending. Basically, planeswalkers were trying to help the multiverse.
Yeah, not break apart. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they got a good power downgrade.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've actually talked about it. I think we talked about it on the Kitty Pride episode. How I hate when writers kind of overpower the shit out of their characters because they're like, well, it would be so cool to see how powerful they are.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, why don't they just fix everything now? I mean, yeah, you're an ageless super wizard. Why wouldn't you just fix all of the problems of the multiverse? Like, get your shit together.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think it was Karma that was like, maybe we don't need planeswalkers to be ultra super powerful.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they should have just like, I don't know, a limited amount of time to be super powerful.
Yeah, and then they die.
That might help.
So now with the post mending, and the first block that came out, Nicol Bolas tried to restore some of his power that he lost during the mending by reuniting these things called the 5 shards of Alara and drawing from the maelstrom that formed. Elspeth, who I love, she's fantastic. We'll be talking about her.
Ooh.
She's a primarily white planeswalker. And Johnny, which is the cat planeswalker, they drove Nicol Bolas off by reflecting the power of Bolas's soul, like his soul against him. And the shards that he was collecting were permanently merged into Alara. And Elspeth left to find a new plane to call home.
Ooh.
She's fucking dope.
Cool. I'm excited to hear about her one day.
She's really good. Next is Zendikar, which is another plane a lot of people like. It served as a prison for the 3 ancient Eldrazi titans. So these are like unfathomably godlike beings that destroy worlds. Like, they're bad.
Yeah.
There's often times where planeswalkers, even if they don't necessarily like each other, will come together to fight the Eldrazi because they're like a common threat.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. So Sarkhan fought Chandra, which is a cool, badass red, fiery planeswalker babe.
Ooh.
And Jace, a really popular blue themed planeswalker, fought at something called the Eye of Ugin, weakening the Eldrazi prison. Sorin and Nissa traveled to reinforce the prison, but Nissa instead released the Eldrazi, hoping they would leave Zendikar, but they didn't, so she fucked up. I know, she was optimistic, and it backfired.
Yeah.
Gideon, another planeswalker, tried and failed to fight them off alone.
Oh.
Yep. The next one is called The Scars of Mirrodin. So Mirrodin's creator, Karn, remember he got thrown there.
Yeah.
It was a carrier for something called Phyrexian oil. So Karn's only protection was his spark, but that was gone.
Yeah.
So he became corrupted, and he became known as the father of the machines.
Ooh.
Because remember, he was artificially made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he became the father of the machines to a new race of Phyrexians.
Ooh. And that was the bad robots that we learned about at the very beginning of the episode.
Yep, the machine horse.
Machine horse. You're never going to be able to think of them again, are you?
I won't.
You're welcome.
So, thank you. And they remade the world as New Phyrexia. Not good.
No.
Venser sacrificed his life to restore Karn's spark and free him from Phyrexia's control.
Yay.
So Karn's back.
Yay.
Because someone else sacrificed himself for him.
Trauma.
Meanwhile, Liliana retrieves something called the Chain Veil on a plane called Chandalar. As ordered by Kothofed, she uses the Veil's power to curse Garuk, who had been hunting her, and to kill Kothofed, the first of her 4 demons she made a pact with.
Ooh.
Yeah, she has 4 demons that she's made a pact with, and they're actually very important to her story.
Yeah.
Next in this wild, wild story called Post Mending is Innistrad. Innistrad's another plane.
Yeah.
So the humans of Innistrad had been protected from Innistrad's monsters by the Archangel Avakin, but she was locked in a prison for demons called the Hell Vault, and almost nobody knew she was there. They were saved by an unlikely hero, Liliana, no one expected that, who broke the Hell Vault to get to the demon Gristlebrad. Avakin emerged from the broken prison and went to work protecting humanity. Liliana, again, used the Chain of the Veil power to kill her demon, Gristlebrad.
Yeah.
So this is her second demonic master that she killed.
Awesome. So she was really like, it was just like a happy accident.
Yeah, she's like, oh, like coincidentally, my own needs helped you with yours, which is fine. Next block is called Return to Ravnica. So Ravnica's guilds were again on the brink of war. Again,
gotta love that war.
To prevent it, a really cool dragon. He's dope. His name is Niv Mizzet. He told the guilds about a plane-spanning maze that, if solved, would restore the guild pack and bring peace. The planeswalker Jace won, and he became the living guild pack.
Fun.
I know. I hope that's going well for him, because
yeah, it sounds like a lot of responsibility, keeping peace across planes
with guilds involved.
With guilds and
dragons
and magic.
Oh my. The next block is called Theros. Now Theros, the world of the plains, has like Greek styled gods.
Ooh.
So Elspeth is back, and her acts of bravery on her new home of Theros drew the attention of Heliod, the god of the sun, who named Elspeth as the sun's champion. Now Xenagos ascended to godhood as the god of rebels, and Elspeth entered Nyx in order to dethrone him and kill him. However, Heliod then felt threatened by Elspeth and murdered her.
Cool. Love it when men.
Like Greek gods do.
Such a Greek thing to do.
Yeah. Her soul became trapped in the underworld.
Oh.
I know.
Lame.
I was so bitter about it because she's so cool. Next in the block for post-mending, and the final one for the post-mending, is called the Takur block. So an individual called Zarkin Vol, haunted by the spirit dragon of Ugin, returned to his native plane of Tarkur. He was led to Ugin's tomb and was sent back in time to the moment when Nicobolus killed Ugin.
Time travel.
I know, it just, why the fuck does time travel have to get involved in a very complex multiverse? Like, it just doesn't help. Vol used a piece of the Eye of Ugin from Zendikar, which formed a protective cocoon-like thing. So instead of dying, Ugin would recover from his wounds, and Vol got returned to present time. But Tarkir had been permanently changed because of time travel, and the plane was now ruled by the previously extinct dragons. Yep.
You go back in time. You send somebody to go back in time to save yourself before you die, and accidentally stop dragons from going extinct.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Ugin, at that point, after this person got back to present time, he suddenly awoke because he was finally recovered. And this other individual called Soren told Ugin the dire news about Zendikar. And Ugin then told Soren to find Nahiri so that they could try to restore the Eldrazi prison.
In canon retconning, hey?
It happens so much. Because they're like, oh, dragons are a really cool card concept. We kind of fucked up. Oh. Let's bring them back. But it's convoluted little piece of information. So that's the post-mending arc. Ooh. Next, we get into something called the Gatewatch. The stories revolved around 5 planeswalkers. It starts by telling the planeswalker origin stories. So, previously not much was known about them until this point. So we find out about Gideon, who was once Kytheon Eora of Theros. He opposed the god Erebos, but in a moment of hubris, his friends and allies were killed. His trauma transported him to a plane called Bant, and he became a planeswalker, and he decided that he would forever redeem himself because he fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's Gideon. Jace, really popular blue planeswalker boy, trained with the Arbiter Sphinx. The Sphinx exploited Jace for personal gain.
Oh.
Jace found out, and he had to defeat the Sphinx in Battle of Minds, mind, psychic, mage power. But then suddenly, he ended up on Ravnica with amnesia.
Oh, fun!
That's his origin story.
Love it. Amnesia's great. It's a great storyline.
Very helpful. Next is Liliana Vess. So she was a heretical healer on Dominaria before the mending happened. She used dark techniques to heal her dying brother, accidentally turning him into a lich.
Whoops. Oopsie lich.
Oopsie lich, my brother. Liliana escaped to Innistrad, where she embraced death magic.
Yes.
And once the mending hit, she made a pact with the 4 demons to regain power and her youth.
Of course, why not?
The next one she's really cool. Her name is Chandra Nalar. She was once a courier on Kaladesh, but she was arrested and used her previously unknown, very illegal talent of pyromancy to escape. Her family was killed in retaliation.
Oh.
And as Chandra was about to be executed, she erupted into flame and she planeswalked to the plane Regatha,
Power move.
where pyromancers were revered.
Ooh, yes. Smart.
Yeah. The next one is Nisa.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, she fucked up
Mm-hmm.
by letting go the Eldrazi because she thought
Yep.
she could get them to leave. She was an animist on Zendikar with special ties to land. She's like a elf lady.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like green vibes, like elf pointy ears. At Zendikar's request, she traveled into the mountains and found the imprisoned Emrakul.
Ooh.
And the vision of the Eldrazi that she received nearly killed her.
Oh no.
And that's when she like escaped to Lorwyn and got like her planeswalker spark and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 5 main planeswalkers that really get focused in this saga.
Cool.
3 of them are badass women.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. Love a good badass female character.
No.
That's really
Definitely didn't start a whole podcast.
definitely not. So the 5 of these planeswalkers form like an allegiance called the Gatewatch.
Cool.
So it starts off called the Battle for Zendikar. Gideon recruits Jace to help him defeat Ulamog on Zendikar. Gideon's allies retook the city and attempted to trap Ulamog, but this dude comes back, Ob Nixilis, and he frees him. Ob Nixilis captured Gideon, Jace, and Nisa. Chandra came to the rescue, though, and the 4 of them took on the oath of the Gatewatch, swearing to rally against interplanar threats, and went after the Titans again.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's Battle for Zendikar. Next is called Shadows over Innistrad.
Ooh.
Jace searched Innistrad for Sorin, who was oddly absent from Zendikar, with an individual named Tamio. He investigated Avakin's madness, leading to Sorin destroying Avakin, but that was apparently part of Nahiri's plot for revenge. Everything's about revenge.
Yeah. Gotta be.
Gotta be. For the rest of the block, the Gatewatch ineffectively attacked Emrakul, but were saved by Liliana.
Yay!
Yep, and then she joined them.
Yay!
Yep. That might not bite them in the ass.
Definitely not. She's super probably doesn't have her own sort of, reasons for wanting to do that.
Oh, 100%. Next, this is the current saga. It hasn't ended yet, as I know.
Ooh, okay.
But it has the most blocks.
Fun.
So it's going to be a lot. But it's called the Gatewatch Nicol Bolas. So in the first block, it talks about an individual named Dovin Bon who asked the Gatewatch to protect the Inventors Fair on Kaladesh, but they declined. Chandra ran off to Kaladesh, her home, and the rest followed. They found Chandra's mother, Pia, who Chandra thought was dead. Because remember, the whole family got killed.
Yeah.
But her mom's alive.
Ooh.
And Tezzeret, who is the head judge of the Inventors Fair, but the servant of Nicol Bolas.
Oh.
So the Gatewatch joined to oppose Tezzeret, and that's when they also found a Johnny. So they got Catboy Planeswalker joined the Gatewatch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Catboy.
The next thing that happened in this block that's important for the story is the Gatewatch found Tezzeret. They destroyed the bridge. They learned that Nicol Bolas was on Amonkhet, which is like an Egyptian-inspired plane. It's really cool.
Neat.
And they went after Nicol Bolas despite a Johnny's warning.
Okay.
Not good.
No.
There's a warning when a Catboy warns you.
Always,
probably listen.
Always listen to Talking Cats.
Yeah.
If television has taught me anything,
listen to Talking Cats.
Listen to Talking Cats.
The next block is called Amonkhet. The Gatewatch finally arrives on Amonkhet. Nicol Bolas is ruling, he's taken control somehow.
Yeah.
And they learn that a few of Amenkut's dark secrets just in time before Bolus like returns to the plane. Heralded by destruction, the death of the gods, and the unveiling of Bolus's army of the Eternals. The Gatewatch confronted Nicobolus, but were completely defeated, and they fled to Eronia on Dominaria.
Lame.
Jace instead ended up on Ixalan, another plane, due to a safeguard that Ugin had set up in Jace's mind. So everyone's like, okay, Jace, we're going to go to Dominaria. He's like, yeah, got it. And he just
doesn't.
Doesn't. He planeswalks and he somehow, like mentally, because of the safeguard, he's like, no, I'm going to go to this other plane instead.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how upset everybody else would be?
We're just like, where the fuck did he go?
Like, why the fuck did you do that, Jace? God. And now here's the worst part. Jace loses his memory.
Oh no.
And he's unable to planeswalk because he can't remember.
Awesome.
You will love this chick. She becomes a planeswalker.
Ooh.
Her name is Vraska.
Ooh.
She's like the Medusa of this world.
I love it.
And she's a pirate.
Oh, yes.
She's cool.
Yes.
So she finds Jace on the verge of death, and despite having been enemies, so clearly she knows him prior, he joined her pirate crew and they became good friends. In this block, she also sought after the Immortal Sun, which apparently is an item that can boost magic power, but secretly also traps planeswalkers on Ixalan.
Oh.
Yeah. After a race to the lost city of Oraska, it rose from the jungle and multiple parties fought to control the Immortal Sun.
Ooh.
But that caused Jace to fall and hit his head, and he and Vraska were flooded with Jace's lost memories.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jace had a plan. Seal Vraska's memory of him.
Yeah.
And work with the Ravnica guild leaders to prepare a trap and then unseal her memories so she could betray Bolus.
Fun.
Yeah. So with her memories sealed, she called Bolus and Tezzeret, and they took the Immortal Sun. Yeah. So he got his memories back and decided, I'm going to make my newfound friend forget me.
Yeah.
And then when it's convenient, I'm going to make her remember everything.
Yeah.
And betray Nicobolus.
Yeah. So he's basically unwittingly creating his own double agent.
Yeah.
Well, not unwittingly, very wittingly.
Yeah, but she didn't, again, I would have to do more research. Didn't sound like she said yes to this idea.
There's literally a Star Trek episode that we just watched about, like, it's on Deep Space Nine, and some, like, chick ends up on the space station, and she doesn't know why these people are, like, following her, and it turns out that it's because she was, like, signed up to be a double agent, but in order to be a convincing double agent, they took away her memories of her life before. And then after she got all of the information, they had like a code word that would trigger her to want to go somewhere where they would meet her and give her back her memories. And then she could be act as an informant.
Oh my God. Dear God. Okay.
This is literally a Deep Space Nine episode.
The next block, Alison, my dear friend, is called Guilds of Ravnica.
Ooh.
So again, you know how everyone else in the guild pack was, like, let's go to Ravnica.
Yeah.
Jace didn't.
Yeah.
So everyone else was there.
Yep.
Except for Jace, because he was missing for months.
Yep.
Several guild leaders on Ravnica ended up dead, including my favorite, Niv Mizzet.
Oh.
The intellectual smart dragon.
Lame.
They were replaced by planeswalkers who had Bolus to thank for their planeswalking powers.
Cool.
Really cool, right? I know.
Super handy.
Good. The next block is called Dominaria, so we're back to Dominaria.
Yeah.
So the Gatewatch arrived without Jace.
Yeah.
Nissa felt manipulated by Liliana and quit the Guild Watch. Chandra also left. to find her own solution. So Gideon and Liliana began their campaign against Liliana's final demonic master, Belzenlock, by defeating Liliana's reanimated brother.
Oh.
I know, that's kind of sad.
After everything that I...
Oh, she worked so hard to keep him alive, only to be like, I have to kill you.
I have to kill you now.
Yep. Meanwhile, the Weatherlight was rebuilt.
Cool.
That ship that can traverse planes, and they have a new crew. Chandra found Karn and learned that one of her mentors was actually the ancient planeswalker, Jaya Ballard.
Ooh.
So the three of them left and they rejoined the Gatewatch. And at this point, Jace finally arrived from Ixalan with a newfound...
Hey, guys.
And he has a newfound mistrust of Liliana. Then he left again to prepare his plans on Ravnica. So he showed up, mistrusted Liliana, and left.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Fuck you. Bye.
Bye. So with the crew assembled for the new Weatherlight ship, they assaulted the stronghold where Liliana's third demon master commanded. Liliana drove the Black Blade into Belzenlock and ending the demonic contract. Teferi joined the Gatewatch and they left for Ravnica. But Liliana couldn't. Nicol Bolas emerged.
Oh no.
Telling Liliana that since Bolas brokered the contract, it now defaults to him. So he had to choose to either serve or die.
Oh no.
And she leaves with Nicol Bolas.
Oh no.
I know.
After all her effort.
All her efforts to get rid of her demon contracts, Nicol Bolas is just like I had an asterisk and you didn't read it, you know? Fucking...
It was in the fine print.
It's in the fine print. Always read the fine print. Whatever. I'm sure she'll get out of it.
Yeah.
She's lived long enough. I'm sure she can. So next is the core set 2019. Ugin and Nicol Bolas are twins.
Yes.
The youngest of the elder dragons on Dawn Manaria long, long ago. And one of their first experiences was seeing their sister, Marevia Sol, get killed by human hunters.
Oh no.
So after they see their sister get killed, Ugin and Bolas met the rest of their siblings and learned from them about everything that happened. Ugin learned from the humans, while Bolas learned to manipulate them and be a lord over them. Ugin realized that his trusted twin brother had been lying and manipulating him. And in the anguish of this manipulation, Ugin's spark ignited and sent him to the plane of Tarkur. Ugin returned many years later, but Bolas saw it as a betrayal because he didn't know why his brother just fucking left.
Yeah.
And in Nicol Bolas's fury, his own spark got ignited. And the two of them had a powerful, because this is like before the mending happened.
Okay.
So at this point, they're very strong, can live forever, immortal beings. They had this huge fight. Ugin chose to feign death in the waters and decided to prepare for a long-term plan to combat his brother. So Nicol Bolas thinks his brother's dead, which is a smart move. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, good choice.
I might also pretend to feign death if I need to.
Yeah.
So now we're on the latest block called War of the Spark.
Oh.
Tezzeret uses his powers to warp the immortal sun to Ravnica and several structures from Amonkhet, containing Bolas's army of the Eternals, including 4 eternalized gods that are led by Liliana.
Yes.
Ral Zarek lights a planar beacon to call all the planeswalkers to Ravnica in order to fight. But then they became trapped on the plane.
Cool.
Because of the immortal sun. Again, this powerful artifact that can trap planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Bolas then started to cast the Elder spell in an attempt to harvest the sparks of every single planeswalker they trapped to achieve ultimate power.
Oh no.
I know. Told you he's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy.
Very bad. So groups of planeswalkers handle different aspects of the attack against Nicol Bolas, including teams to shut down the Planar Bridge and the Immortal Sun. Gideon is attacking Nicol Bolas with the Black Blade, the blade that Liliana used to kill one of her demon masters.
Yeah.
But it was ineffective because Bolas had set it up as a red herring to make them all think it could kill him.
Clever bad boy.
Clever boy. But Liliana, she's a smart, witty one, this lady.
Mm-hmm.
She turns the Eternals against Nicol Bolas, breaking her contract at the cost of her life. But Gideon decides to sacrifice himself instead for Liliana.
Oh,
I know.
cool.
With the combined might of the Planeswalkers, the God Eternals, and Niv Mizzet, who became reborn as the living guild pack thing that Ace once had, Bolas becomes defeated. Gideon traps Bolas and himself, because remember, they be brothers.
Yeah.
They trap themselves on the meditation realm, and that's when Rawl, Vraska, and Kaya are sent to hunt down Bolas's other allies, which are Tezzeret, Dovin, and Liliana, but they don't know Liliana did a switcheroo.
Yeah.
And then another planeswalker at this point called Kaya joins the Gatewatch.
Cool.
And that's a quick...
hour and a bit long
of Magic the Gathering.
Nice. And now we never have to do this again.
No, I'm never doing it again.
Now we can just jump in next time.
Now I'll just be like, hey, just a quick reminder, this is what a plane is. This is what colors do. This is what this is. Moving on. If you want the rest of the info, listen to this episode.
Yeah, listen to the history of the lore of Magic of Gathering. Magic the Gathering.
I know, it's a lot, but I hope it made enough sense, dear listeners, and to you, Alison.
Yeah.
I know most of it in the beginning was probably boring because it was about mechanics and like what the game is. And then unfortunately, the actual timeline is just very complex.
It's wild.
It is. It's crazy. If you actually want to read about it, again, if you go to Magic the Gathering's website, they have a section called Story, and you can click on different characters. You can click on different planes and different like important items and artifacts, and they'll give you an overview of how they fit into the world.
Neat. That's cool.
Yeah. We met a lot of people that I didn't really talk about, but I will talk about a handful of them in the future. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, because again, I wasn't talking about one particular fabulous fictional female.
No,
but
she definitely touched on like a few different ones that are definitely going to be interesting to like. Yeah, it seems like there is a lot of like interesting stories and characters of different powers and stuff, so that's cool.
It's very complex, though.
For sure,
with all the world jumping and timeline, and then bad people being bad people, and
double agents and memory loss and
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like if I ever tried to like do a character from something like Passions, where it's just like, yeah, there's this person and they have like, amnesia, and then this happened.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
Yeah, just wait until I do an episode on Jane the Virgin. That shit is gonna be crazy.
Can't wait. Thanks for sticking through it.
Yeah.
I know it's long, and it's maybe not what you were hoping, but I hope this helps you in the future when I talk about a cool, fabulous fictional female from the world of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, well, I've had my over an hour long episode with my husband where we just scream about aliens for like an hour and a half. So
everybody
gets one meandering, ridiculous episode.
Yeah.
No, there's going to be more in the future. I guarantee you that.
Most likely.
Yeah, it's about having fun though.
Exactly. So that's why I like Magic the Gathering.
Sure.
Sure. Before we end off the show and before we talk about what Allison's excited for, quick plug.
Yeah.
We will not be having episodes over the holiday Christmas break.
Nope. We're taking a Christmas holiday from editing and all that stuff just to hide inside for some more time.
Yeah, you will see us in the new year,
Yeah.
2021. Hopefully, we don't have a buck wild start to 2021 as we did to 2020.
Nope. Hopefully it's smoother. And our first episode back is going to be Kim Possible. So be ready for some like crazy nostalgia and
It'll be great.
look forward to that.
Yep, January 10th, we'll be posting again. So stay tuned. Have a wonderful holiday break. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you don't celebrate, just be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Wash your hands, drink water.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you happy as long as
you're also safe.
You're safe in these trying times. So, Allison, with that, can you tell me what you're excited for this week?
Oh, I'm excited because The Mandalorian is back on.
Oh, yeah!
Yes, The Mandalorian is back, and they are tying in some stuff from Clone Wars and Rebels, and it's all good, and I'm loving it, and my nerdy Star Wars fan is just reveling in the perfection that is The Mandalorian. I haven't been quiet on a couple of the other episodes with regards to Star Wars and how kind of let down I was with the new trilogy and everything that happened. But Mandalorian has really refreshed my love for it, and it just reminded me of why Star Wars is so fun, and gotta love that like lone samurai and a baby sort of vibe that you get. And Baby Yoda's a little monster, little genocidal monster.
Genocidal baby monster.
And there's tons of cool female characters. We officially got Rosario Dawson confirmed to be Ahsoka.
Oh, you love her.
I do. She's super cool. And I love Ahsoka. Ahsoka's going to be a fun episode for everybody. Just you wait.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it. That's what I'm excited about because, God, it's such a good show.
You deserve excitement, Alison.
Yeah. I'm also watching Kim Possible. We recorded the episode before I started rewatching the show, but I am watching it now because of Disney Plus.
Oh, Disney Plus.
So, super handy. And I hate it, but I love it. But I hate it.
So love-hate relationships.
You can find us wherever podcasts can be found. Please make sure to rate and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Wench Bench Pod. And if you want to reach out, you can send us an email at wenchbenchpod@gmail.com. All of the art for the Wench Bench was designed by the wonderful Tessa Joyce Riecken. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Werevile. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Sounds expensive.
It is. It is. I'm not gonna lie. I have one that's like $200.
Jesus.
I know. It's expensive. Who's a good boy? Hi, honey.
Hey.